Bratok versus Hwangsin, I think it should be a pretty close series, but I feel like Bratok is the better player, and I'm going to say Bratok takes this series.
I think I'm going to agree with you, Ben. Despite Bratok being at the bottom of his division, together with HeyPro, Bratok is 0-6 this season, guys. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it several more times, just because I can't believe it. I've always seen Terran, always seen Bratok as one of those premier Terran players in Europe, even when he's not like on top of the radar all the time and winning every single weekly tournament. No, Bratok doesn't do that. But normally when Bratok plays something official, he's really, really good. So it's surprising for me to see Bratok being 0-6, and I don't even think he necessarily played all that bad this season. He played several really good close best of threes. He just kind of ended up on the wrong side. But I think today, Ben, he should be able to defeat Gosu's Hwangsin.
Yeah, and what you said is so very true for many, many players. You can play great games and end up on the wrong side of those games. Look at Jinro. He's 0-6, but he has
could
played
have easily been 4-2 as well.
Oh, he's played incredible games all season long. Up until he played Polt, I don't think there was a one-sided series on his entire schedule. But unfortunately for him, you know, he just he drew the short straw a couple times, and because of that, finds himself at the bottom of his group where he could very easily be sitting near the top.
We see the refinery going down already for Bratok. Of course, I do agree with everything you just said. As always, Ben, I'm not even going to mention it anymore. Because you really speak words of wisdom.
Don't even want to say it.
Don't make me say it, Ben. I agree. Bratok plays a different style of TVP in general. How we know most European Terrans love to go for the no-gas fast expand build. Bratok has always been a fan of these 2 Rex build openings. Let's say 1 tech lab, 1 reactor. Get quick concussive shells and then make a quick push. No combat shields, no stim, so nothing super serious. But it can be very serious against the greedy Protoss, certainly because Bratok, of course, has excellent micro as well. Now, I'm not sure if he's going to do that over here, since I don't see any second Rex yet, and he might just going to drop, he might just save up a little bit of gas and he's going to drop a factory and he's going to open up with a starport instead. But this is interesting. Hwangsin is going to get a pretty good scout off here, Ben. He's going to spot the refinery and he's going to spot the amount of SCVs, which is hard to count immediately, but it does kind of give you an idea of if this is going to be a 2-Rex opening or if it's going to be a tech opening.
Yep, and it is, like you said, it is going to be a tech opening. He saved up that 100 gas for the factory, and down goes that factory. So something up for Bratok. Could be a Banshee opening, but the way he's only got second probe scout. Actually, does he spot the factory? He should have seen it. No, I don't know if he clicked on it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a whole other scenario. That's something we can't check yet in his awesome observer mode. Maybe that's something for Heart of the Swarm, man.
Yeah, maybe that'd be a nice thing to have.
Like you get like the little surrounding that I hate so much from games like League of Legends, and even Diablo has it right now, you know, like those little surroundings. If you click on a unit, there's this little thin red line around it. Oh, I hate that so much from the bottom of my heart.
But I have no idea what you're talking about.
How do you not know?
Surrounding?
Yeah, like this yellow surrounding. It's literally like, let's say a Marine would have a red light around it, because that's the unit that you're attacking.
Like the yellow?
No. But then on top of the entire, not just like this is what I love. In games like StarCraft, there's a little circle on the ground. What I hate is in games like LoL and League of Legends that they have this entire glow around them, like over his shoulders, and that's completely red. Don't tell me you don't know what I mean.
I mean, I'm sure I would know it if I saw it, but I'm not piecing it together from what you're telling me. I'm struggling here, Kev.
Every single unit you click on has this entire glow around it, a complete red or yellow glow. The first time I ever saw it was in Red Alert 2, and I hated it so much.
You just mean like in terms of just the graphics, the glowiness? Yeah. Like it's like more too shiny for you?
Not just that, it just looks really ugly because the entire unit is surrounded. Anyway, I'm not going to try to explain since you don't get me, Ben.
No, I think I understand what you're saying. Like, like the special mobs in Diablo?
It just, yeah, exactly. Okay. But it just doesn't bother you, apparently. It bothers me really a lot. We see a Hellion Scout, a really great Hellion Scout actually by Bratok, Ben. Hwangsin is going for a little bit of 3-gate pressure, but he's only on 1 gas, which I find really interesting. Meanwhile, we saw Bratok dropping the command center in his main base, so he does definitely have something to worry about. Now Hwangsin is going to expand too. What a crazy opening from both sides.
Yeah, Bratok had a fantastic scout off, as you said. Even managed to kill 3 probes and even sneaks out of here in time to see the Nexus. So excellent job there by Bratok, seeing everything that he needs to see.
Scout.
What he does not see is these units warping in at the bottom of his ramp, but he's got the bunker up there because he saw the 3 gateways.
The bunker is going to go up, but he's going to have to pull some SCVs. He cannot afford to lose this bunker, Ben. Bratok, where are your SCVs?
He's taking so much damage, but the Stalker's actually just being microed past.
Yeah, but now he can pull even more SCVs. Don't underreact, Bratok. Just pull everything. And even if you lose quite some SCVs, that would be totally okay if you take out all these Stalkers, which is going to be hard. Maybe 1 Stalker will survive. Well, maybe even 2. Well, 3.
Gonna do better. Gets out of there with all 3 of the Stalkers. So Hwangsin does some pretty substantial damage, killed 4 SCVs, a lot of units, but more than that, he's at this big supply lead, Kev, 41 supply to 29.
A little bit disappointed there, man, because I really feel this kind of reminded me of Hero versus the Muslim. The moment a Protoss player does this and goes up with 5 Stalkers over here, just pull all the SCVs immediately. If you trap those 5 units, of course you're going to lose a lot of mining time and you're going to lose quite a few SCVs, but it's totally worth it. Do you know how expensive it is for a Protoss to lose 5-6 Stalkers early on? Certainly after he lost a few probes already as well, as we can see. Bratok killed 3 probes, or well, 2 probes with the heli and 1 was a scouting probe.
Yeah, it would have been a very painful loss, but Hwangsin does manage to get out of there with the vast majority of those Stalkers. Bratok still hasn't floated down to his natural, though he is starting to close this supply gap, 40 supply to 50. If we look at the income tab, we can see 24 SCVs to 30 probes, which is really pretty even when you factor in the double orbital.
Yeah, definitely. It's not bad for Bratok, and actually I would even say that it's sort of okay, because he's going to have much better tech. This is, if I was Hwangsin right now, Ben, I'd be really worried about that first push with medevacs, which is almost already coming, but Bratok is going to need a few more units, because no matter how scary Sim Bio is, Ben, you're going to need a little bit more than 6 Marines and Marauder.
Yeah, it's not quite enough. Also important is the fact that Bratok still hasn't scouted this pylon that's chilling out at the quarter of his natural. He's got no vision. That's a perfect spot for it.
The medevac is going to spot it right now. Bratok knows.
Should know. Should know. Bratok, you
I
should
think
know.
he knows. I think he just wants to not waste any more time. He knows that Hwangsin is very vulnerable right now because he has a super immobile army. And as I said, if I play Protoss, this is the phase of the game when I'm worried the most, when I feel that my tech is underdeveloped and I know that Stint Bio is on the map and I know it's going to come somewhere. You really need to have your units in excellent positions, otherwise you're going to be in a lot of trouble. But Hwangsin seems prepared. Yeah,
he does have his units in pretty excellent positions. He's got Zealots, a single Immortal, and a couple of Stalker Sentry up in his main base, which is going to be more than enough to deal with this first drop. Bratok, seeing that army pulls back, doesn't commit to the drop just yet.
Yeah, what I would love to in this situation, like this is part of the meta game. This is what everybody does in high-level StarCraft. When you know that Protoss is going to put a lot of units in their main base, why not just get all your medevacs over here and just stim, or all your bio over here with these 2 medevacs and stim in? What is this going to do, man?
Nothing. It would force Hwangsin to relocate. We'll see if Bratok does choose to do something like that, as he does take out the probe that's sitting on that pylon, and he is moving forward as if he wants to pressure this natural.
I mean, Hwangsin is in decent shape, but he really needs to have all his units in one position, and I don't think he's going to be able to get all the units. Bratok can actually pick off a lot of units when they stream down the ramp. He's afraid of force fields.
Yeah, it is a scary thing to commit to.
I would have loved to see just Bratok attack over here on the left side. Of course, it's very easy to talk when you don't have fog and wire, because Bratok couldn't possibly know that all those units are over here. But I would have loved to see him just scan the main, which he later did over here, but a little bit before. If he spots all these units over here, then it's so easy for him to attack over here via the left side.
Yep, and Hwangsin, we can see, is still a little bit nervous about these medevacs. He's still leaving the 2 Immortals back in the main, although all the Zealots have been ferried down to the natural, so he'll be a little bit better equipped to deal with frontal assault. Exactly.
There's a much better buffer right now. If he drops force fields, he's going to end up losing a few Zealots, but that's okay. He's going to have easily enough time to get these units out of the main base, while before that was definitely not the case.
He's also opting for Colossi with Thermal Lance. That's going to be his ultimate answer to the bio, at least in the mid-game.
And you know, Ben, these kind of scenarios always have 2 questions. Did Hwangsin just prepare really well, and did he defend really well, despite there not being any kind of fancy fight? That doesn't mean that these 2 guys are not playing well right now, because Hwangsin surviving this crucial 2-3 minute phase of the game is super, super important, and it's really not easy, because you're going to see the difference between the top player and Hwangsin or an average ladder player, and ladder player would have died there right now, just because somehow something would have gone wrong. Would you say Hwangsin did this really well, or would you say that Bratok perhaps missed a small window by not being at the right side?
I think both players did it mostly correctly. It's very, very difficult to say Bratok, if you would have just attacked from this slightly different angle, then you would have had a much bigger window. Hwangsin, the key thing is Hwangsin had units in position in both places, so Bratok couldn't know with certainty that he had an opening to hit. Sure, there was an opportunity for him to go and attack, but it was so tiny. It would have literally been like threading a needle, Kev.
And it's interesting, man. Hwangsin is not producing probes anymore for quite a while. He's on 45 probes, so he basically has 1 probe too many for, let's say, minimal optimal saturation, if that makes any sense. 16 on both mineral lines, and here we see him adding those extra gates already. So I would say that this sort of reminds me a little bit of Squirtle's play, where he just gets 2, 3, 4 Colossus, and then just gets a lot of gates. But now he's getting a Twilight console as well. That surprised me a little bit. Maybe he just wants to make the push with Blink.
Could also be for +2. No, probably not, as +1's only halfway done. Yeah, maybe, Kev. Yeah, he goes ahead and starts up that Blink research.
So he's just going to get a lot of Stalkers, a couple of Colossus, and tries to pick up Vikings. And it seems like Hwangsin wants to win this game on 2 bases, which I can't really blame him. But if he wants to wait for Blink Ban, it's going to take a little while. Of course, we have Chrono Boost, but this Viking count is already rolling. We have 4 Vikings on the map right now, and I think by the time he's going to attack, it's going to be 8 to 12 Vikings. And, well, he's going to have to hope for some miscontrol by Bratok, because I actually think that Bratok is going to be in decent shape.
Yeah, Bradok's macro is really starting to take off. He's got 3 bases. He's dropping mules over at the 3rd, while he continues to mine on well-saturated main and natural bases. So, I mean, Bradok's supply is going to be way high, and actually Hwangsin's just going to take a 3rd base. I like this decision, because if he had waited for Blink and then done a big 2-base push, he would have been completely committing to winning the game right there.
Yeah, I agree with you partly, Ben, but I feel that this base is so extremely late. I mean, all this time, Bratok already has his base running. Bratok right now is already 24 supply ahead, and yeah, of course you can always expand, because Hwangsin is still probably going to be able to max out in a minute or 2.5 or 3, but then the next fight he really has to crush Bratok. If he does not crush Bratok, he's going to be in a ton of trouble.
Yeah, Bratok is, like you said, continuing to produce those Vikings. He's up to 8 now. It'll be 10 in just a second. And he's also working on 2-2, meaning his upgrades are essentially ahead of Hwangsin's. Hwangsin is spinning that Chrono Boost, though. He's working on +2 attack and +1 armor. So I guess they'll kind of cancel out. Also, charge going down. Now, if Bratok doesn't try to attack before charge finishes, that could maybe start moving things back in Hwangsin's favor.
I feel that Hwangsin is quite far ahead. I mean, quite far behind. This is a scenario that you often see between very good Terrans. Like, for instance, if I play against someone who I think is just clearly better than me, and myself, who I think is okay but not particularly super good, then I'm always afraid to take this 3rd base too early, because I'm just afraid that these Terrans are so good, they're going to drop all over the place, and I'm not going to be able to keep up multitasking. I won't split up my army correctly. But if you play it this passive, then you're basically just going to get heavily out macroed. Bratok has mined so extremely much more than Hwangsin did this game, that I think Hwangsin is going to need a small miracle to really win the upcoming fight. And
Bratok is really transitioning through all the techs very smoothly. He's already working on the Ghost production. Hwangsin has not thrown down the Templar archives yet that I can see. No, he has it building.
Yeah, he's wiping in it right now. I mean, as you said, Ben, of course things are slowly shifting back. Maybe Hwangsin has a better chance right now than with that 2-base all-in, which would have been very, very late. But still, Hwangsin is literally going to have 1 army, and if he doesn't completely crush Bratok, I think he's going to be dead. But it is possible that he is going to completely crush him. He has a ton of gates. Storm is going to be researched very soon. He has charge. He's working off double forge, even though he's just no, he's 2-1 right now in upgrades, which also is interesting, because normally you see Protoss players get 1-2. But this might have something to do with the fact that he has 5 Colossus, and of course Colossus shoot twice. So maybe.
Storm's on the way, Kev, and Hwangsin even going to go ahead and load up a Warp Prism with these High Templars. So if Storm finishes, that could change things, but Bratok might not allow that to happen. He's kind of hovering outside of the 3rd base of Hwangsin right now with a maxed out Terran army.
Yeah, and Bratok knows that Hwangsin is stuck in 3 base, and he also knew the timing very, very well of this 3rd base. That's why this factory was super, super important. Not only did he have a good scout on this all the time, he also knew exactly when Hwangsin was actually expanding. So he knows that he's in great shape economically. He can see the upgrades, he can see that he's on 2-2 and his opponent is only on 2-1. Hwangsin is really going to need Storm. He also has to be super careful with that Warp Prism, by the way.
Oh, but the Vikings are going to go ahead and come forward. They're going to really do a ton of damage to these Colossi. Storm still not ready. High Templar are being unloaded.
Oh,
but now Storm's finished, but Hwangsin doesn't seem to realize that High Templar is just sitting there idle, finally dropping a couple of Storms, but not before losing all of the Colossi.
Yeah, with the reinforcements, Hwangsin at least is able to push Bratok back for now, but as you said, he lost all the Colossus and he also lost those High Templars. We can see Bratok is still up 40 supply. Hwangsin does have quite a bit of money saved up, so he is able to rebuild a pretty scary army in a short amount of time. He has a lot of gates as well, and he can Chrono Boost those gates since he's on 3 Nexus. He's even wiping in a 4th Nexus. Hwangsin feeling pretty confident after that engagement.
Yeah, Bratok has expanded everywhere. I love this about his play. He's taking the bottom right and the middle left expansion. Hwangsin's going to have a few Storms next time they fight, but his army is really kind of small. 152 supply to 124 in favor of Bratok. Although, you know, these Vikings, they're kind of wasted supply at this point with no more Colossi on the field.
That's true, but that's why I would love to see. I mean, what I always love to see is when Terrans use their Vikings to harass, like just land them somewhere behind a mineral line, which is really good, but it can also go wrong against a lot of Blink Stalkers. And then if you end up losing 6, 7, 8, 9 Vikings and suddenly there's another Colossus switch, then we are the first one to say, oh, he didn't have enough enough Vikings to deal with the Colossus. So that's of course something that Terran has to be careful with, but still, if you keep a good track on the Protoss army, if you know whether that Colossus switch is coming or not, then I think it's definitely worth sending those Vikings out and harass a little bit.
Bratok trying to attack up at the top left-hand side of the map, while Hwangsin just warping in a ton of Zealots, dispatches it easily. Meanwhile, Hwangsin pushing down on the bottom right, and I think he's going to be able to take out this expansion, so Hwangsin saves an expand and takes out one of Bratok's.
Yep, nice storm. Didn't lose a single unit there to that planetary fortress. A couple of units were low on HP. Is Bratok going to try to intercept that army? For a second I was going to think about it.
Drops a scan. He's going to kill the Stalker on the tower. How often do you see a Stalker holding down the tower at 22 minutes?
Pretty often, man, because they have blink, so you can also always blink away and go back to safety.
Well, fine.
You never see that? I mean, maybe against Zerg it's not the same case because Zerglings are too quick, but against Terran it's pretty good because if you see something incoming you can just blink away.
Definitely used to seeing Protoss put Zealots on their Xel'Naga towers when they play against me, but you raise a good point.
I'm full of good points, man.
Hwangsin has somehow worked himself into a lead, Kev. Yeah. It's 190 supply to 170, and Bratok seems to have missed whatever window he had. He's still got all these Vikings. It's 11 Vikings out on the map against 1 Colossus.
There are a lot of Archons right now, Ben. I'm not sure how many ghosts we have 14 ghosts. I love that from Bratok. That's so smart. Maybe that's why his supply is not that high right now, because he's been investing a lot in these also expensive ghosts. 5 more ghosts are on the way, Ben. That's so crazy. Look at all these tech labs. I think Bratok is taking a small page out of Happy's playbook.
And you know what? Hwangsin doesn't have an observer.
I was already wondering about that too. He's building a new observer right now, but if this fight is going to go down, it's going to go very bad for Hwangsin. Good storm.
Bratok does scan on top of the army, perhaps looking for that observer, but there isn't one there to be seen. And here we go. Hwangsin is going, or Bratok is going to cloak and move in there. He's landing tons of EMP all over the Archons. Storm going down on the Vikings, and actually, Bratok, just pull your Vikings back, bro. Whoa, that was not necessary, bro.
The Archons turn around and pretty much kill everything. Look at all these Archons. They're so low in HP, man.
Yeah, they've got no shields, just whatever life they're born with.
Yeah, which is like 10. But I always think this is like so tricky. It's kind of like an optimal illusion. You think these Archons are like, oh well, they're still pretty strong just because they're fully green on HP, but it's literally 2 shots.
Something crazy, Kev. We were talking about, hey, if Bratok loses all of his Vikings, then we're going to be the first ones to point out, oh, he doesn't have Vikings for the Colossi. Hwangsin now has more Colossi in this army, and there are no Vikings on the map. That seems kind of bad.
Small hit squad over here on the right side of the map. Couple of Marines going to try to force a cancel on this Nexus, and I actually think they will succeed in doing so.
I think it's not the Marines, man. It's that SCV drilling away.
Yeah, it's mostly him.
I want to put a command center here, boss.
Wow, that was not very smart by Hwangsin.
Yep, lets it finish, and it does get killed. A couple Zealots are going to show up to dispatch this hit squad.
Bratok is going to try to expand once more in the right bottom side of the map, but there is a single Zealot over here. Hwangsin is going to start shield upgrades now as well, man. And we see the 3rd armor upgrade almost being complete. I would have loved to see just Bratok stim in and force a fight here somewhere when he landed all those EMPs. Because now he landed a lot of good EMPs, he lost all his Vikings, and what did he get in return? Absolutely nothing.
Nuke's going down at the top left-hand corner of the map. Hwangsin sees it, he cancels and moves all of his probes. So minimal losses going to be taken.
His poor probe.
Oh! I just wanted to build a pylon.
2nd robotics facility being wiped in as well. Hwangsin has so much money.
Yeah, he's in great shape. I'm not sure where this game went wrong for Bratok, I guess.
He invested super much into Ghosts. Like, Ghosts are very expensive units. And while Hwangsin was just trying to max out on the standard Protoss army, which is expensive, but not super expensive when you're on 3.5 to 4 base. And since after all, he did get this base as well eventually. Bratok tried to expand in the right bottom, made planetary, lost, then went for a command center, lost that one too. And then he got a ton of tag labs on all these Rexes, so he's just been investing a lot into that final army. He's even getting +3 on the Vikings. But now it's going to be a reverse scenario where earlier in this game Hwangsin really had to win the fight. I feel Bratok is right now the player who really has to dominate the fight. Otherwise he's going to be in a ton of trouble because there's no way he can ever reproduce his army.
He is dropping another nuke up at the top left. This time Hwangsin's... Oh, he does react to it at the last second. Nuke lands, kills an assimilator. That's about all.
The assimilator did nothing wrong.
Just wanted to sit there and be an assimilator.
5 more gates on the way for Hwangsin, so he's gonna have a sick amount of reinforcements. I'm a little bit disappointed, man. We never saw Warp Prism speed being upgraded with this amount of money. We never saw storm drops on the mineral line. I really think that's the kind of stuff you can afford when you are this rich.
What Hwangsin is doing well, though, is patrolling the middle of the map, maintaining map control. He's overbuilding observers now. He's continuing to pump out observers, so he's got plenty with his army. He doesn't want to get caught by a bunch of cloak ghosts, and he's not going to the way that he's been doing this. But he is giving Bratok an awful lot of time. So what was a really grim situation for Bratok now is once again kind of evened out as we've got 2 maxed out armies.
And Bratok's army is actually quite a bit bigger, Ben, because Hwangsin has way more probes. Hwangsin is going up to quadruple robo. Does that even make sense? Yeah, it does, right?
Yeah. Quadruple?
Quadruple. Almost had it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Again, 20.
Get your Colossus on the floor. Gotta get up to get down.
Not bad. So Hwangsin is going to try to destroy this planetary fortress over here on the left side of the map. Bratok is way out of position, so this won't actually be all that hard. And that pretty much means that Bratok is not really mining anymore. Well, he has quite a bit of minerals left, but still. Bratok is maxed out right now, man, with only 33 SCVs. Well, he was maxed out. He lost just 11 supply. He has a super scary army. He has 22 ghosts, 32 marauders. Meanwhile, we saw a nuke going down on this Nexus.
Just because? Yeah. Just because he can. That Nexus does get taken out pretty
Wow, I actually think this is going to be
easily.
a really sick game. Look at the money of Hwangsin, man. Oh, High Templar on the high ground, the hero. Feedbacks. Right now, the good thing is every feedback is a kill. It's like the best feeling.
Hwangsin is making observers 4 at a time. He's going to have 10 supply of observers. That's crazy.
Ends up losing a 1 or 2 already, though. Link over there.
Those Vikings do not want to be this stacked up. Really scary armies on both sides.
EMP?
Did the observers all just die? No.
Wow, look at the poor Colossus dying to ghosts.
Yep, Bratok just being as annoying as he can be right here, and we are going to have a bit of a fight. The Colossi falling very quickly.
Where are the observers? Well, we still have 3 observers, so it shouldn't be a problem. Only 1 Colossus remaining, couple of charges.
But if Bratok if he scans right now, he'll kill the observers, but he chooses not to do that. But still, I think he's going to win this fight. Hwangsin fighting in a terrible choke. And Bratok's... Wow. That fight really wasn't even that close.
No, because Hwangsin was only using half his army. He's warping in 12 zealots at a time now, though. He's making warp gates, or new warp gates on the left side of the map. He still has this sort of scary army. He's going to try to counterattack. What was Hwangsin doing there?
I have no idea.
Did you see, like, 2 Immortals, 5 Archons were just stuck over here behind an Immortal and a Stalker?
Yeah.
It made no sense.
Everything was so choked up. Hwangsin wasn't really able to engage. Now he's going to lose this main base. He's forcing a bit of a race, but I do not think that he's going to be able to kill this army of Bratoks.
I actually think the race is a very smart idea because he still has so much money, so all he needs is time, and then he's going to be able to remax. I think it's a pretty smart idea, and I actually think this is going to bring a lot of problems to Bratok.
I would love to see Bratok using these Vikings more accurately, though. He could float them over to that top left base and land them, and there'd be nothing there to do anything about it. As Hwangsin's going to be severely supply capped, Kev, even though he's got all this money and all this time, he's got no pylons.
That's a very good point. He is wiping in 4 pylons at a time, though. Oh, lost Colossus. He's going to scan once more. Did not see those 2 observers. How many observers do we have left? 3 observers left right now.
Valuable tech being picked off all over the place. Hwangsin is starting to make his way back up to start to mount a defense, I suppose. Bratok has barracks just flying everywhere.
Look at this hero. Man, this game is turning out quite nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it is just going to be an outright race. Bratok continuing to deny these pylons, and Hwangsin staying supply blocked at 160 of 150.
So Hwangsin is just completely rebuilding his base right now. On the left side of the map, he's warping in 7 gates, has been warping in a ton of cannons, gateways, and other additional tech. And he still has 4,500 minerals, and most importantly, he also has 3,600 gas. So this basically means unlimited amount of High Templar. We still had 12 ghosts on the map. It's 11 right now.
Oh, man, Bratok continuing to just push forward. He's really taken no losses to his army. And Hwangsin hasn't been able to rebuild his army, so I still feel like we're moving towards an inevitable fight that Hwangsin's not going to be able to win. He hasn't added anything to his force.
No. He is finally not supply blocked anymore, but now when he loses this pylon, he will be. Hwangsin, why didn't you just make like 20 pylons? You have so much money.
This has got to be so
look at
frustrating.
This hero Templar. He could land a really big storm. I love the positioning of it.
Smoking on the job.
Oh, a very low HP cloak goes in the back of the army over here, Ben. This could be a really sick nuke.
Oh, that big storm does go down, though, over Bratok's Marauders.
Bratok doesn't have any nukes anymore, right? No.
I don't think that he does. Hwangsin, as you pointed out, has finally opened up the supply he needs. Did that turret just kill an observer?
No, but just the positioning of this turret.
Yeah.
Don't you think it's funny?
It's pretty awesome.
Gives complete cover to this ghost.
Yeah. I mean, Bratok's just, he's still just kind of running around picking off things on the outside of Hwangsin's territory. Hwangsin's going to try to make his way around to potentially do some more counterattacking. Looks like Bratok's retaking Hwangsin's main.
Well, there are quite a few High Templars over here. Hwangsin should not end up losing those. He's probably going to end up losing this double robo over here again as well. Doesn't really have any probes anywhere else on the map.
He's again going to lose a ton of pylons, so once more, he's badly supply blocked.
All the ghosts over here, Ben. You could land sick EMPs. No, Bratok actually doesn't see it yet. Now he's going to see it.
And what is he going to do? He's just going to cloak and fight because there's no observer nearby.
Oh, look at all those High Templars. So risky from Hwangsin.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like Hwangsin's just kind of doomed. Bratok's, there's blue all over the map.
Storms right now, Ben.
Really beautiful storms there by Hwangsin.
Oh
just
my God.
Good Lord, forever storm. And the army of Bratok just gone.
He only has 30 Marauders right now, and I think this is the moment where Hwangsin is going to try to make a final stand to save this base. There are still quite a few Marauders and Ghosts left. It's all going to come down to the EMPs.
The Vikings can still just kill everything, though. Like
nice storms.
But if a scan would go off, he could kill the observers, and then the Ghosts could kill everything else. But instead, Bratok going to land the Vikings and lose them all. And now I think Bratok might be dead.
Wow, Bratok lost all his ghosts, man. He had like 11, 12 ghosts over there. And those storms from Hwangsin, it just kept raining storms, talking about changing the weather.
Hwangsin has 0 harvesters, but he's got 5,300 minerals.
Yeah, but he can't build any pylons.
But he can't build any pylons, and he can't build any probes because he's supply blocked.
Yeah. So he needs to kill off his own army if he ever wants to use his money. What a ridiculous game over here. Bratok's going to lose most of these Rexes. I'm afraid that no, he's not going to lose it to base.
Look over here on the top right. Bratok's just
yeah, but he only has 1,000 minerals.
This is like a Chinese industrial complex. He just builds a city in the middle of nowhere.
Well, that's very racist.
How is that racist at all?
You're just admiring that technology, Ben, and the way that they build.
No, I'm just saying
cities.
China's built up rapidly in recent years.
That's true. That's true. No, you're right.
Man, pulling the R card on me.
1,200 minerals left for Bratok. Wow, I really think Bratok kind of let this game slip away. Wow, that was a big explosion. That's what happens, man, when you rush things.
I was trying to think of a joke, but the only things that I was coming up with were not appropriate.
Those engineers. Nice harass over here by Hwangsin, and I really think that Bratok right now is just sort of dead. All he has left is 5 Marauders. I think he's going to try to pick up as many buildings as possible.
Well, if he could kill the Nexus, then I think...
Yeah, then he has a good shot.
Well, if he could kill the Nexus, then it would be a draw, right?
Basically it's always going to be a draw because, Hwangsin is never going to be able to kill these kind of buildings. But can Bratok actually win this game?
I don't think he can win. But Hwangsin can win. All he has to do is lose his army, build a probe.
He can't win, man? I feel that this is the only few units over here that are quick are these few Stalkers. The rest, I think Bratok can basically pick off one by one. He has 5 Marauders. Tim, how many Metavacs do we have left? 6. Basically, Ben, maybe with flawless micro, Bratok can just pick off unit by unit.
If Hwangsin builds 1 Void Ray, he wins.
Yeah, but how is Hwangsin going to build a Void Ray?
He has to lose his army, build a probe, make a Stargate, and then make the Void Ray.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
Or he could just run around and kill all of Bratok's stuff without Bratok realizing.
What a crazy game. Bratok's going to try to pick off these 4 Zealots that have delayed mining for a long time. Now actually Hwangsin is going to try to bring in the rest of his units as well. Be careful with those Metavacs, man. They're awfully clumped up. Pick up a Stalker.
The Stalkers blink forward though. That's also just as dangerous.
Pick up Stalkers.
And threatens to, but fails to kill anything. And those seriously, it's time for evac.
Wow, I think 3 out of 6 medevacs just fell.
Oh no, Billy! No!
One Marauder is going to fall as well. The other 4 Marauders will survive though, but still. What a ridiculous game.
What now Hwangsin is going to start killing his own army.
I think it's pretty smart. It's about time. He has so much money. That's like the smartest thing he could do. For 1 second I actually forgot that this Nexus was still alive.
If Bratok can kill the Nexus, he can win the game. Not win the game, but he can force the draw.
But yeah, the problem is he left a High Templar behind, which I think is so smart, so you can always feedback. And then he can storm as well, and he's going to save enough time. And Bradok's going to lose one of the last 2 medevacs. He has to lose his right. Stalkers, blink, cooldown. There we go. Bratok is mining again though. But he just
he's
doesn't
got
have
this base down here in the corner.
Oh, is he going to try to build Cloak Banshees?
That would be smart, but there's still the observers.
Are there? Oh, he still has 2 observers. Wow,
both
players really let this game go.
Finally, Hwangsin builds a probe.
He just needs to pick up those Stalkers, man. That's all he has to do.
Man, Hwangsin just killed so much of his own army.
Yeah, the Zealots are still remaining though. Oh, there's a Hellion. Smart.
Where's the Hellion?
The Hellion is going to try to take out the High Templar, man, with 200 energy.
Nope. Success.
Yeah.
And almost gets a probe.
That was like a kamikaze Hellion.
But Hwangsin's done a good thing. He's started a couple more gates. He's built a cyber core, and he's got these 2 probes out.
So soon he's going to be able to make more Stalkers.
The clock is ticking. The only way Bratok can get out of this situation is if he can pick off those probes and shut down this Nexus.
Funny first game of the day. Now actually Bratok might be able to pick off 4 Zealots over here. Oh, he might actually end up losing a Marauder. The Stalkers are coming in from behind. This has to be it.
He's going to lose everything. Yep, Bratok forced to tap out there, loses those units, and Hwangsin takes game number 1. Epic game number 1.
What a silly game.
Silly is another word for it.
This game went back and forth so extremely much. In the start you could say it was okay for Bratok. Then it looked definitely pretty good for Hwangsin after he survived, but then it was quite delayed again. His 3rd base was so late. I thought if he would have hit a 2-base timing it would have been okay. Then went up to 3 bases, and Bratok had so much more money for such a long time. I'm sure if we would look at that graphic from that game, like statistic wise, that it looked so good for Bratok for a long time. Then Hwangsin maxed out. Then somehow he took the worst fight ever, but because he had so much money, eventually it led up to all sort of weird situations. But at the end of the day, Hwangsin did manage to win the game.
Bizarre game. Well played by Hwangsin. That first game brought to you guys by Epson Projectors. Epson.com/projectors is where you need to go if you want to buy one or read about some. Doing your research. I'll do your research for you. Epson Projectors, the best.